Excellent. So, our conversation today is messaging and branding. Messaging and branding. When you think about message, what comes to mind? When you think about the word message, what comes to mind? Let me see something in the comment section. Let me see something in the chat. When you hear the word messaging, what comes to mind? When you hear the word messaging, what comes to mind? I'm waiting for a few answers. When you hear the word messaging, what comes to mind? All right. One of the things that comes to mind is ujumbe. Ah, there is a hymn about ujumbe. I will remember it. Okay, so I see communication. When you think about messaging, what comes to mind? Let me see in the comment section and in the chat, and then we can proceed. Passing on of information. Excellent, excellent. Passing on of information. That is true. Any other thoughts when you think about messaging? Sending information, connecting with the target audience, fantastic. All very true. Now, why are we doing this? Because we have realized that for many of us, messaging is this amorphous thing that sounds like it is so big and somebody else should do it for us. But last week we learned that we must, first of all, know what we need to do before we outsource it. That's why we're seated here learning. Okay. So by the time we are done with this session, our objective is that we'll understand how messaging is the foundation of brand clarity. We will learn to craft value statements. We'll explore consistency in storytelling and how it builds trust and recognition. And we will really find gaps and pitfalls in our own messaging. The intention in this space is not that we tell you what to do, absolutely not. Our intention in this space is for you to be able to find what you need to do, and we can hold hands with you and we can accomplish it. That is what we are. Okay. So, given that, we always start with a reflection in this space. Those of you who know me know we are going to reflections. So, when people ask what you do, how clear and confident is your answer? When people ask what you do, how clear and confident is your answer? Is it absolutely clear what you do? Do you need to get better at it? So if it's absolutely clear, put a 10. If it's absolutely terrible, put a 1 and gauge yourself anywhere between that. When people ask you what you do, how clear and confident is your answer? Let's see some responses on the chat section and in the comments. When people ask you how clear is what you do. 3, okay. Anyone else with a response? Let me check on the other side. 3, excellent. 4, okay. I can see we're coming to clarity. Fantastic. Does it inspire interest or confusion? When you tell people what you do, are they interested or are they confused? So funny story, I used to confuse myself when I tell people what I do until I had to sit down and really clarify it. Does it inspire people or confuse? And that one, take it and put it in your notebook. I just need you to have that clear frame of reference where you're at and what people think about when they look at you. Okay. So, as a recap of the previous weeks, we said marketing is not a sales function, it's how you connect, communicate, and create value. And I will repeat that for quite a bit of time going forward. Why? We need to move it from being a purely sales function. Marketing is not sales. Marketing is creating awareness, connecting to people, communicating value. It is building the ecosystem that will stand with you and buy your product. All right. So if that is what it is, then it is a leadership function and not just promotional activity. And the reality is, for your marketing to hit the right spots, connect the right people, it must be clear. So clarity beats activity. You could be jumping around on every platform, but people don't know what you do. So you are unable to draw the interest of people. And therefore, you are also unable to connect to their realities. All right. The other thing about it is when we did the 4 Ps last week: product, price, place, promotion, and SMART goals. Those become the foundation of our lean marketing strategy. Why is that important? Lean is good because it gives you one page with everything you want to do on that one page, and then you proceed from there. So, karibuni sana to the conversation. We are talking about messaging and branding. So what is messaging and what is it not? All right, let's quickly jump into that. Messaging is the clear and consistent way you communicate value. Remember, it's how you show up. It's how you connect with your audience. It's how you bridge the gap between what you offer and what your customer needs. The other thing we said a few weeks ago is that your customers buy for their own reasons, not yours. They buy for their reasons. And when you understand that, then your promise, your positioning, and your tone are aligned to that. And messaging is that combination: your promise, your position, and your tone. But messaging is also the connection before conversion. So it is how you look at us and you say, this is a group of people I want to hang out with every Tuesday. You mark your calendar, you look for the link. We have a few people who said, give us one link for old timers. For those of you who like to be on Zoom, that link is the same link every week. So just put on your calendar with a link. You'll just be able to register and connect. All right. But messaging is also a guiding thread. It's a consistency across all platforms. So whether it's your socials, whether it's proposals, whether it's pitches, whether it is your business cards, your messaging must be consistent. And the really foundational part of messaging is the definition of who you are, what pain you solve, and how do you solve that problem. But on the other hand, messaging is not just a slogan and a nice logo. No, it is so much more than that. Messaging is not random, disconnected social posts that hazina mwelekeo, they have no direction. It is not a list of features with no link to benefits, because your customers buy, or they buy from you based on how what you offer resolves their pain. I keep saying we must be our customers' painkillers. If we're not their painkillers, we're not doing our work well. All right. And then it is not the words you change every week. When you understand your messaging and who you're talking to, you learn to use the same sort of language. So think about a hospital. They will not talk about how this week about all the things that could go wrong in your life, and next week they talk about, oh, how wonderful your life is. They will consistently talk about how they help you keep your health at its optimum. They will consistently talk about that. A fast food joint will tell you how with every bite your taste buds will be satiated, and that chicken will just make you happy. A spa will talk about how they will give you back your life and your sense of accomplishment. And in everything they say, there will be a common thread. And that's what you're looking for. So it is not different words, different focus, different dimensions every week. And marketing is not something that lives only on a website, only on a social media page. And this is what I say to people: every interaction you have with me is a marketing conversation. If I have a team in the shop, every time you come to my shop and deal with my team, that's a marketing conversation. That's a marketing conversation. So when you understand that it is not random, it's not disconnected, it doesn't just live on your website, it's not a list of features we rattle off, but it is the thing that connects us to our audience, then you become a lot more careful about your messaging. And messaging is absolutely critical, because if you are unclear, no one will know why they should listen, care, or buy. In fact, they'll be like, these guys are a bore. These guys are a problem, and they keep passing. All right. It is important because a confusing message costs you opportunities, attention, and trust. Remember, whether it is me as a speaker or the business I work in or the business I own, people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. They buy from those three. So your messaging is part of your fundamentals that ensure that people can get to know you, they can get to like you, and they can trust you. But if you confuse, Donald Miller said, if you confuse, you lose. So that's why messaging is so important. So important. Think about your favorite brand and the day you misunderstood their campaign. Did you buy the particular product they were putting together? And those are things we must learn to think about. If you are still with me, let me see an EX on the chat or the comment section. EX stands for examples because we're going to jump into some examples right now. And please, I'm looking for engagement. If you're with me, let's put an EX in the comment section or in the chat, and then we can proceed. Tuko pamoja? Are we together? Excellent, excellent. Excellent. I can see you, Joy. I can see you, Celestine. Thank you very much. Yeah, these are E's na X's ni mingi, Mr. Mukoko. All right. So I will read a message and you will tell me in the chat and comment section whether it is strong or weak. So an accounting service says we provide accounting services for businesses of all kinds. Is it resonant or is it just hapo? It's just there. As opposed to say, we help MSMEs track their cash flow simply so they can grow without financial stress. Which of them is weak, number one or number two? We provide accounting services for businesses of all kinds. That's the first one. Second one is we help MSMEs track their cash flow simply so they can grow without financial stress. Yes. Number one is the weak one. And most of us would go with number two because now we know exactly what they do. All right, let's try another one. Social enterprise that does education. We partner with rural schools to equip teachers with digital tools so students can teach future-ready skills. The other one is we work to support education in Africa, which is a strong one. Which one is strong? We support education in Africa, or we partner with rural schools to equip teachers with digital skills so students can be taught future-ready skills. Number two, yes, number two is a strong one. All right, this one I will ask somebody to tell us why it resonates with them. We sell fast food. We deliver affordable home-style meals to busy parents so they can feed their families well without losing time. If you would pick up that one, tell me why. Which one you would pick and why? We sell fast food, that is number one. Number two, we deliver affordable home-style meals to busy parents so they can feed their families well without losing time. Number two, why? What is it about number two that draws you in? What need does it speak to? I'm a busy parent. So that one resonates with me from here to Timbuktu. Fast food. Okay. So fast food could be a thing that you don't want to be caught eating. Okay. Excellent. Number two, because it gives me a solution. Excellent. Remember, we must be the painkiller for the pain our customers experience, which means we must answer their need. All right. So when you think about this, and we will do one last one, we sell quality clothes for all people for all occasions, or we help young people, that could be women, young professionals, dress confidently for work without breaking the bank. I love that one of without breaking the bank, right? Especially when you know you need to do so many things. And I like the one of without breaking the bank because it resonates with me and my frugality, right? So, when you look at it like this, you must understand the pain point of your customers and then speak to that with your messaging. So, imagine that this one is the bio of your IG account or the bio of your TikTok, and you learn where you run live TikToks to sell clothes. There are a lot of people who do that. If I come to your site, I will see that and I will buy because it resonates. I need to look professional and I don't need to break the bank. All right. So that is what your messaging must do. It must resonate with your customers. It must resonate so deeply that they will stay. Remember, we talked about the marketing funnel where they stay long enough to be converted and then become your advocates. So that is why messaging is important. So let's craft a value statement. If you're writing on a pen and on a piece of paper, I hope you got like half a page. We will rush through this because it will be very practical. So a value statement is a clear way to tell people who you serve, what you help them achieve, and why it matters. To tell people who you serve, what you help them achieve, and why it matters. So the formula is we help dash, which is the who, do dash, which is the what, so they can X, which is the why. I repeat, we help who to do what, so they can why. And what you're doing is you're putting it out there so that people know who you are and why you exist, okay? Know those things about you. Give me one sec. Let me put it here on the talk. Know what you do, who you are, what you do, and why, what good it gives them, then they are able to stay with you. Um, there we go. All right. Why is that important? When you say who you speak to, and we've said this before, you must be so specific that when they see your comment, they resonate. Remember the one of we help, let's go back to that example. We help young professionals. So the who is very clear. Dress confidently. That is what they need to do without breaking the bank. All right. So we help the who is young professionals. Dress confidently for work, because what does that do? When you feel confident about how you look, you present yourself with more confidence and you go further and you do better. And then you are resonating with their need to live in a certain budget. So it is high quality, good looking, official, if that's what they're looking for, without breaking the bank. Okay? So that is why we say you need to craft your value statement. Remember, customers buy for their reasons, not for your reasons. So you have to have sat with them. That's why we kept going back to market research and ideation. You minimum viable product, you take it to the market, you test it, they tell you, hey, you adjust, you take it back to them, because you could sit in your room designing perfect messages, but they only resonate with you and not your community. So when you're designing your messages, test them, right? Make sure that you have tried it on the people you're seeking to speak to. But when you're crafting that, there are things we need to avoid. Number one, avoid vagueness. Things like, remember there was, I don't know, we help all small businesses make more money. That's vague. It fails because it doesn't actually signify why you're there. Because we could be 15 of us saying we help small businesses make more money. Why would they choose you over the other 14? So your value statement is actually supposed to differentiate you. Okay? The next pitfall we must avoid is making it all about us, not our customers. If you said something like, we provide the best services, did they tell you that? Or is that you assuming that you provide the best services? How do you know what resonates with your customer about your product? Ask them. And they will tell you, I keep coming back because. I'll give my favorite example of my sunscreen lady. I keep going back because my skin was never the same since I started using her sunscreen. How long have I used her sunscreen? Several months. And when my skin is niggling, I know it is safe to put it because it will soothe my skin. So she's talking to those of us who have sensitive skin, who want a natural product but still want a mineral sunscreen. All right. So it's the outcome I'm looking for. I don't want irritable skin. I just want to be comfortable and have full day cover. And that sunscreen definitely does full day cover. In fact, it's a very good base for my makeup. So she has had to understand, for those of us who are makeup girls, she's like, yes, it is light enough to be underneath your makeup, or you could put it on top if you want. I'm like, why would I put it on top? But maybe there's somebody who does, who wants extra protection. So that's the second pitfall. You make it all about yourself and not your customer. The other one is listing benefits, okay? And I gave this example last week when you come and tell me, oh, it has X horsepower, so much torque, 0 to 60 in 20 seconds. All I'm looking for is it pretty? Is it comfortable? Is it easy to drive? So it's like pitching a manual to somebody who wants an automatic. And you're like, oh, you have better control, which is true. You probably have better peak speed, which is true. But that's not what they're looking for. So you'll give us torque, you'll give us what. And really what I want is smooth ride, look pretty, look nice when I get out of the car. Okay? So your value statement should show what I, as your customer, gains. So if it is the image I'm looking for, remember, go to work, be confident at work. So they're looking for confidence, they're looking to hit a certain goal. The other one is overloading on jargon. We leverage synergistic frameworks to enable scalable growth. If they have to find a dictionary to understand, or they have to ask you a question to understand, you have lost your customers. Keep it simple, sweet. Or it's too long and complicated, or it's undifferentiated, or you forget the why. Why it matters is one of the most critical things you must capture in your messaging. When you understand that your messaging is the key to conversion, because it's the key to resonance. And when they resonate with what you have, then you find that you draw more people to you. You definitely draw more people to you. So a good value system answers in seconds who you serve, what you help them achieve, and why it matters. 3 things: who you serve, what you help them achieve, and why it matters. Which then means it is one sentence. Now, if you have struggled with your value statement before, that is okay. Very few of us are actually able to craft it in one sitting. More often than not, you will write it, you'll go to your community, they'll tell you, you'll write it, you'll rewrite, and you will come to a place where it not only resonates with you, it resonates with them. So who you serve, what you help them achieve, and why it matters. And then you marry it with storytelling. So many of us, when you think about storytelling, at least my generation, we remember the Kiswahili version, hapo zamani za kale. Once upon a time. Okay, that will tell my age, so let me not ask that question. had a grandmother like mine who would tell us stories seated around the fire? If that is you, please put a me in the chat or the comment section. If you had a grandmother who told you stories seated around the fire, or as you worked in the farm, or wherever it is she made time to tell you stories, if you had one of those, please put a me in the comment section or in the chat. I had an amazing grandmother. She was very tiny, very, very tiny, but very powerful and very influential. I'm the only one who had a good grandmother. Aish. Excellent. Thank you, Onika. Now, storytelling is an art. It is an absolute art. You can already guess my age. Ha ha. Storytelling is an art. And the reason it's an art, remember, you are connecting to resonate with people. But think about your common conversations. You can't always say the same thing the same way, even if you tell the same story. When you tell the same story more than once, you're probably giving us different angle, right? So that then they can understand a different dimension. For those whose grandmothers no longer tell stories, I'm sorry. Yeah, grandmothers have that special thing. My grandmother used to buy a little quantity of meat and cook it for us. And oh my goodness, wonderful stories. And she will send for it as soon as we got there because she knew towards the end, before we left, she would call us aside to eat. But meat had a price. You needed to listen to what she was saying, go and implement, and come back and give her updates of what you have done, which is very similar to brand storytelling. It's important because stories stick. They stick more than telling people features and benefits, right? People forget facts, but they remember the narratives around them. I don't know who studied this way. When I was in college, I used to listen to the stories we told in discussion groups because then I will remember that Celeste said this, and that will trigger what the conversation was, and I'll have full recall of the conversation. All right. A strong brand story doesn't make you the hero, it positions your customer as the hero. You are the guide. You are the guide. In this space, we are the guide to push you to desire to grow more, and we provide the information you need in a simple, fun, applicable version. Okay. So, wherever you are, whatever business you do, or whatever work you do, your customer is the hero. That is why the product or service matters to them is of absolute importance. Okay. Your business is the guide that helps your client or customer win. Your business is the guide that leads them to the resolution they're looking for. Your business is the guide that helps take away the pain. So then when you talk to them, you must speak in a language they understand. A strong story asks, who is the hero? And your response should be my customer. And then you define your customer, not you. Not you. It's your customer who is the hero. And then you've identified what the problem or pain point they are facing. So you'll speak to that. And then your expertise, tools, or support is what you provide as guidance. Remember, we help SMEs manage their cash flow so they can be sustainably successful. The who is clear. What the problem they're having is cash flow management, and we're looking for sustainability. Why are we looking for sustainability? We all know that SMEs die in the first 5 years. 75% of them die in the first 5 years. Many of them would thrive if they're actually able to understand and manage cash flow, which is then what transformation happens. Before they were like this, after they were like that. So you have a picture of the pain, but you also have the picture of success. And it is the picture that matches success in their minds. So the reality of these, and I keep telling many of my students, the things we need to do are very closely intertwined. Know your customer works for product development, it works for product improvement, it works for market selection, it works for marketing. You have to know your customer so intimately, such that when you see their pain point, you know that is your customer. But also so that when they see your messaging, they know this is my solution. They know help is found here. They know this is where, if I stay long enough and I do the work, I will be able to get to success. This weekend, I spent a lot of time just talking with people about growth. And a lot of people said, but pressure to grow will give you mental health challenges. Yes and no. If you are getting pressure from the right community who are asking you to improve and supporting you to improve, then your mental health does not get challenged. If you're pushing yourself to measure up and keep up with the Joneses, then it becomes a problem, right? So it comes back to your messaging. How does what you have resolve my need for growth? How does what you have help me manage my mental health? How does what you're offering help me look pretty without breaking the bank? Okay? So you will always hear me talking about the customer and understanding them well. So some examples. We sell affordable fitness classes, or we help parents regain energy and confidence by offering 30-minute workouts that fit in their hectic schedules so they can be strong for their families. Right there, busy, so they're tired, and some have probably put on weight. And because they're also busy, they do not have time for 3-hour workouts. They don't. So 30-minute workouts that fit into their hectic schedules so they can feel strong. Many of us are really, really tired. What we need is a good workout regime. Okay? When you tell stories like this, you become memorable because they're like, who are those guys who said that we can do 30-minute workouts? When I began using walking as my prime workout, at that point, I couldn't walk on the road much. So I went online looking for home walking workouts. And there is a complete, you can even do a 5 mile in your house without leaving. Now, 3 miles is 5K, 5 miles is almost 10K. That helped me because I was able to do that workout in 20 minutes in my house. Then I hated getting dirty. And I don't mind doing the road. But it helped me get off the sofa and into fitness. All right. So it was memorable because it was energetic, it was simple. I could find a 10-minute workout at 20, 30, or 45, depending on the day. And then the same person offered 10 minutes warm up, 10 minutes stretch after. So if I allocated like 40 minutes, I can do my 10-minute start, 20-minute workout, 10-minute cool down. By the time I leave there, I'm fully stretched, no pain, life is good, onto the shower, into the office. And I'll never forget them. So recently, when I wanted to kickstart my walking again, guess where I went? Same YouTube channel. Why? It connected to my struggles. It also connected to my aspirations. And in the group, because it's a trainer with a group of people working out with her, they have high intensity, they have low intensity, and they have regular. And then they have Latinas, Africans, and we move differently, right? So you feel, that move looks like me. So you're able to do more. And that's really what storytelling is about. When she talks about it, she will tell you the stories of how she has lost her weight. Other individuals come up and say, oh, it helped me like this, like that. You have true stories. Another fitness person I follow, she even has workouts and she is expecting. So then you're like, if she did this and she was expecting, it can't be that high impact, but it is still good. And now she's had a baby and her baby's there. It resonates. It tells me it is light enough for you even when you're feeling unwell. And it's not just the words she's speaking, she's demonstrating it by the kind of workout she's running. All right. Let me run a little bit. So the next thing we talk about, and I know in this space we talk about a lot, is consistency. Messaging isn't a one-time thing. It's not for your website. It should flow through every place your brand shows up. So your captions on social media, the content you put out if you're doing videos, your email subject lines and newsletters, your sales conversations and pitches, proposals, webinars, your responses to your customers, how your teams deal with customers in the shop. It has to be one, which then means as a business owner, you need to craft it and then live it out and then teach your teams. And that's important because inconsistency confuses your audience. If your words, tone, and visuals shift too often, people will not know what you stand for, or they will stop paying attention. Like if you look at the tone of our posters, you look at our presentations, they all have a very specific shade of blue. They all have a very specific feel because it is tied to not just our brand identity, but it is tied to the emotion we intend to evoke from you. And because we've learned consistency builds trust, it took us a while to just settle into the tones and everything, how we do it. But also if you look at our messaging, it has our personalities in it, but it also has the security you're looking for. We are always saying, come and learn with us, and then we'll give you a recap, and then we'll tell you stories. So then it has become familiar, believable, and easy to share. There are people here today because somebody shared the link with them. There are people here today who they tested it the first time last year in September. They're like, I'll be there every Tuesday as often as I'm available. So consistency is what builds trust. A few things you can do. One tagline. People, one tagline. One value statement in all your bios across all your platforms. And then you align your design elements with your messaging. If your color is wine red, don't use red on one platform, wine red on another, pink on another. Standardize. Simple things like if it's your personal brand, one picture across all your platforms. Because of recognition, if I'm scrolling through FB and I know what you look like on LinkedIn and I see the same picture, I'll know that is Joanne, and I'll go there and I'll look at it. All right. And then you train anybody who's representing you to have the same style. Many of us wonder why sometimes shops insist on uniform. It standardizes everybody. But then many of us make uniform this big load we bear. What if we made it uniform by training our teams to speak the same message, have it clearly displayed everywhere so the experience is one? I've been traversing uniform shops and there are two different ones I went for the same company. Treatment was the same. Locations were different. Look and feel was different, but the experience, how they handled me, how they dealt with me, identical. What have they done? They have taught their teams how to be, and they audit the touch points. So last week we were there and it was crazy busy as the IG schools were going back, and they were running a ticketing system with a very pleasant person at the front of the line. He diffused all the pressure because we were many. I mean, your wait time is 20 to 45 minutes. There was one point of the day the wait time was 2.5 hours. All right. So what do? They were auditing as they went along. What number are you? Okay. And the guy would say, you have an errand to do, run, do it and come back. When you come back, I will ensure that you get served. And that's really marketing beyond the poster, beyond the advert. The experience we give our customers is a very big marketing point. So consistency means that the more aligned the touch points, the stronger your brand positioning becomes and stays. Remember, it's consistent messaging, it's consistent look and feel, it's consistent interactions. So then people know Without a shadow of a doubt, if I send Jane to Chesuvire's shop, she will be treated as if it was me. And then they will be more likely to come back. So, things I'd like us to hold on to. Clarity creates connection, but confusion kills opportunity. That's why messaging is so critical. That's why your value statement is even more critical because it is the anchor. It's the thing that holds everything you tell people together. And it's the anchor because your customer is the hero. They are the center of the story. They are the ones we are trying to resolve the issues for, which make us guides. When you understand that you are guide as opposed to hero, even your mindset shifts. Because there's no point of you dominating the story and nobody will come. There's no point. And how do you do that? You remain consistent. Place, time, interaction. So that when somebody meets you, they're like, I feel like I've known you and you're actually the same person. You don't want it to be that you're one person in your messaging and then people meet you, they're like, oh, I wish I never met that person ever. So clarity, 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 because clarity is what creates a connection, which helps you focus on your customer needs. So it makes your customer your hero. It stabilizes your role as guide, and then it builds trust because you are consistent. Do we have questions? I'm open to questions from both sides. As you think of your questions this week, I will challenge us to rewrite either your bio, your tagline, just using the who, what, why formula. Why is that important? In fact, go assess it. Take your tagline and ask your customers if it resonates. If you're a personal brand, do the same. Ask your customers whether it resonates. And if it doesn't, ask them what doesn't resonate. What would they like to feel? What would they like to experience? Who would they like to become? Do we have questions? So the final word on this topic, if we have no questions, is great brands are built on clear promises told consistently and proven daily. Remember, your messaging is what you live out. You live out your messaging. So whatever it is you say, whoever it is you say you serve, whatever solution you provide for whatever reason you provide it, must be consistent. So great brands are built on clear promises told consistently and proven daily. Told consistently and proven daily. Over to you, Mr.